in a hospital mirror, Jade Logan broke down in tears after a brutal hammer attack by a total stranger left her looking like Quasimodo from Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame. Kaya Price, 24, launched a horrific assault on the 31-year-old, from Newport, Wales, in a jealous rage over an ex, after spotting the pair together at a party. Jade sustained serious head injuries and was scarred for life after being struck with 2 heavy blows to her face. In January, Price pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm at Newport Crown Court and is due to be sentenced in May. Jade says, "Kaya could have blinded me. I've been left with a horrible scar on my forehead and constant headaches." Jade met her now ex in October 2020 while out celebrating her 29th birthday with friends. The travel agency boss confided in him about the struggles she'd had with her business during the COVID lockdown. They started dating, but just 5 months later, in April 2021, the pair started arguing. Jade explains, "I'd lost thousands and eventually my business was forced to close. I was really stressed and depressed. Eventually it was all too much, so we split up." A month after the split, when COVID restrictions were lifted, Jade bumped into her ex at a house party. She says, "We went outside to talk and both realized we'd missed each other and decided to make up and get back together. But when we hugged, I heard a girl shouting my name in the street, but I had no idea who she was." After hearing the shouts, Jade says her ex scarpered. Then, out of nowhere, she says the same woman emerged from the next block of flats, marched up to her and started screaming at her, "Come on then and fight me." Jade says, "I had no idea who she was and asked her what she was doing. Suddenly, she saw red, grabbed me and whacked me in the head with something shiny. As Jade recoiled, the girl hit her again in the side of the jaw, and that's when she realized her attacker was wielding a hammer." She adds, "My head was pounding and blood poured from it. My friends yelled at her to stop and managed to restrain her. By this point, I was seeing stars and struggled to stand, then I heard sirens, before passing out." Horror injuries. When Jade woke up, she was in the Grange University Hospital in Cwmbran and, because of COVID-19 restrictions, she was all alone. She says, "I couldn't stop crying. I was badly concussed and had the worst headache. When I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror for the first time, I broke down. My face was swollen and wonky and my left eye had completely fused shut. I was a mess. I looked like Quasimodo." Soon after, the consultant arrived and explained how Jade had suffered a head injury and received 14 stitches, and told her she was lucky she wasn't blinded in the horrific attack. Later that day, when 2 police officers came to take her statement, she was told Price has been arrested at the scene. Jade says, "I'd never seen her before in my life and her name didn't ring any bells. I wondered why she'd targeted me. Love rivals jealous rage." It wasn't until 2 days later, when Jade was discharged, she learned why Thug Price had targeted her. A mutual friend told Jade that Kaya fancied her ex and wanted to be with him, so, when she saw the pair hugging outside the party, she saw red. Jade says, "I couldn't believe she'd attacked me over a boy. She was evil." While Jade recovered from her injuries, her ex bombarded her with calls and texts asking if she was okay. But Jade blocked his number, unable to forgive him for fleeing the scene instead of protecting her from her violent love rival. Despite her arrest, Price was initially freed, leaving Jade terrified to leave the house for fear of bumping into her. Traumatized, she moved away from the area in June 2021 and tried to move on with her life. In November that year, Price was finally charged with wounding with intent, which she denied, leaving Jade with the prospect of having to face her in court. Jade says, "The thought of giving evidence made me feel sick. Scary meeting." While she awaited trial, Jade forced herself to socialize again, and slowly started going out with friends. In January this year, Kaya Price pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm at Newport Crown Court. She's due to be sentenced in May. Jade says, "I was relieved I wouldn't have to go through a trial. I just hope I get justice for what she put me through. She could have blinded me, or worse."